Hi, I am Ajit Virkud, Professor of Obstetrics and Gynecology from Mumbai.
Hello, today I'm going to discuss antenatal care, which is also known as prenatal care. Till the 19th century, pregnancy care was confined to the time of delivery and reserved for the wealthy. In the beginning of the 20th century, the high maternal and infant mortality stimulated the establishment of institutions for provision of antenatal care. Some historical aspects. First book addressing the subject of prenatal care was written by Thomas Bull in 1837. In 1901, Ballantyne first published his plea for a pro-maternity hospital. In 1910, the first antenatal clinic was set up in Adelaide. In 1915, first antenatal clinic was set up in Edinburgh. How do you define antenatal care? Antenatal care aims to prepare the prospective mother physically and mentally for the final ordeal of labor so that she should face it in optimum state of health and emerge with the least trauma to herself and her baby. Now let us see what is the scope of antenatal care. In its widest sense, it should include the education of girls and women to understand its potential benefits and the provision of dietary and social conditions conducive to health so that when a woman becomes pregnant, she is already in a state of physical and psychological well-being. Thus, antenatal care should begin before the patient becomes pregnant. In practice, however, it begins when the patient first comes to the obstetrician to confirm pregnancy. The first antenatal visit should ideally be in the first trimester of pregnancy and not in the 7th month as is practiced in India. The importance of early antenatal care cannot be overemphasized. It has many advantages. One can make sure that the pregnancy is intrauterine and not extrauterine. One can treat first trimester complications like nausea and vomiting, hyperemesis gravidarum. It is possible to make early diagnosis and treatment of complications of pregnancy like threatened miscarriage, vesicular mole, and incompetent os. Fibroids can be diagnosed better when the uterus is still small. Early diagnosis and treatment of medical disorders like heart disease, tuberculosis, diabetes, and urinary tract infection can be made. One can terminate the pregnancy if it is unwanted or severe congenital malformations incompatible with extrauterine life are diagnosed. The chief aim of antenatal care is to ensure the well-being of mother and child by screening and prevention of maternal and fetal problems, management of maternal and fetal problems, and preparation of the couple for childbirth, lactation, and childbearing. The first antenatal visit is the most important one. During the first visit, establish a rapport with the patient. First, ascertain whether the pregnancy is a normal one or a high-risk one. This is done by taking a detailed medical and obstetric history, examination, general and obstetric, including breast examination, pulse specular examination, and vaginal examination. Weight and blood pressure should be specifically checked. At the conclusion of the first visit, even if the pregnancy is normal, certain routine investigations are done. These are hemoglobin, which should be repeated at 28 to 32 weeks, blood group and RH typing, VDRL, which should be repeated at 32 weeks if negative, urine for albumin at every visit, pap smear. A baseline ultrasonography is routinely done at 11 to 13 weeks in modern obstetrics to determine gestation age and at 15 to 18 weeks to rule out certain malformations. The advantages of routine early first and second trimester ultrasound scans are rule out congenital malformations incompatible with life, calculate accurate gestational age, what is known as sonographically adjusted gestational age, and baseline reading for comparison with later readings to rule out intrauterine growth restriction. Besides the baseline investigations mentioned before, many modern centers also ask for the following additional investigations: HIV after counseling, HBsAg and HCV, urine culture and sensitivity at initial visit to rule out asymptomatic bacteria, serum alpha fetoprotein test, screening test for gestational diabetes, screening for thyroid dysfunction, rubella titer, cervical smear, gram stain and culture, X-ray chest with shielding of abdomen if there is a history of exposure to tuberculosis. General counseling at first visit involves advice on personal and dental hygiene, diet, sleep, clothing, travel, marital relations, bowel regulation, and the patient is also encouraged to do antenatal exercises. Family planning advice and education are also very important components of counseling, as patient is more receptive at this time. Based on the history and examination findings of the first visit and the reports of routine investigations, the pregnant patient coming to the antenatal clinics are divided into two groups. The women included in the low risk category are healthy women between 18 to 35 years, normal obstetric history, second, third and fourth pregnancy only, no history of medical and surgical disorders, and no abnormality arising in the current pregnancy. Women who do not fulfill these criteria should be included in the high risk category. These are all primary gravidae, grand multipara, women under 18 or over 35 years, women with medical complications such as heart disease, hypertension and diabetes, those having obstetric complications in previous pregnancy, for example, pregnancy-induced hypertension, antepartum hemorrhage and postpartum hemorrhage, women with bad obstetric history, history of previous stillbirths or neonatal death. Any complication developing in current pregnancy warrants transfer to high-risk category. How often should normal pregnant women and low-risk category be followed up is shown in the pyramid of care. The current approach of prenatal care, which involves visits at 16, 24, 28, 30, 32, 34 and 36 weeks and then weekly until delivery, was established 80 years ago. This is called the pyramid of antenatal care. The high concentration of visits in the third trimester implies, firstly, that most complications occur at this late stage of pregnancy, and secondly, that most adverse outcomes are unpredictable during the first and even second trimester. In modern obstetrics, however, things have changed. With the advent of high-resolution diagnostic ultrasound imaging and biochemical testing, it is not only possible to diagnose early first and second trimester complications of pregnancy, but also, in most cases, to treat them. Therefore, there is a need for shifting antenatal care from a series of routine visits to a more individualized patient and disease-specific approach, both in terms of the schedule and content of such visits. A small proportion of women identified as being at high risk for a variety of pregnancy complications can have close surveillance in specialist clinics. The great majority of women would be identified as being at low risk for pregnancy complications, and in this group, the number of medical visits can be substantially reduced. It is therefore proposed that the traditional pyramid of care should be inverted, with the main emphasis placed in first rather than third trimester of pregnancy. World Health Organization has another concept of antenatal care. The 4-visit antenatal care model outlined in WHO clinical guidelines is as follows. According to WHO, the first visit should be between 8 to 12 weeks. At this time, confirm pregnancy and determine a date of delivery. Classify women for basic antenatal care or more specialized care. Screen, treat and give preventive measures. Develop a birth and emergency plan. Advise and counsel. The second visit should be between 24 to 26 weeks. Here, assess maternal and fetal well-being. Exclude PIH and anemia. Give preventive measures. Review and modify birth and emergency plan. Advise and counsel. The third visit should be at 32 weeks. Assess maternal and fetal well-being. Exclude PIH, anemia and multiple pregnancies. Give preventive measures. Review and modify birth and emergency plan. And advise and counsel the patient. The fourth and final visit should be between 36 to 38 weeks. Assess maternal and fetal well-being. Exclude pregnancy-induced hypertension, anemia, multiple pregnancy and malpresentations. Give preventive measures. Review and modify birth and emergency plan. Patients who are in the high-risk category are given a pink card. They should be seen every 2 weeks after the first trimester and every week in the last trimester. They should be admitted to a well-equipped tertiary care hospital 2 weeks prior to expected date of delivery. During subsequent visits, watch for signs of gestational hypertension and if present, treat promptly. Medical complications like diabetes mellitus, heart disease, tuberculosis are ideally managed in joint consultation with a physician, cardiologist or a diabetologist. This is known as the team approach. Check fetal lie and presentation at each visit. Malpresentations can be corrected by external cephalic version. Rule out cephalopelvic disproportion by clinical or X-ray pelvimetry. Hemoglobin should be repeated at 32 weeks. Immunization against tetanus should be given. Keep a serial record of all visits on an antenatal card. The advantages of antenatal care are as follows. It rules out abnormal pregnancy. Screening and prevention of fetal abnormalities can be done. Correction of anemia. Prevention and control of gestational hypertension or preeclampsia. Control of medical complications. Timely correction of malpresentations and detection of feto-pelvic disproportion. Antenatal care now has newer dimensions. With the advent of ultrasonography, antenatal care has become not only a branch of preventive medicine but also merits a rightful place in therapeutic medicine. Now, perinatology has evolved as a new subspecialty from what began as antenatal care. An offshoot of antenatal care is advent of intrauterine fetal therapy. Following intrauterine fetal therapies are now possible. Ventriculoamniotic shunt for hydrocephalus, surgical correction of bladder neck obstruction by vesicoamniotic shunt, intrauterine blood transfusion for severely affected baby of Rh negative isoimmunized mother, maternally given cardiac medications to convert selected fetal arrhythmias, dexamethasone suppression of fetal adrenal gland in adrenogenital syndrome, and open fetal surgery with fetal laparotomy to correct diaphragmatic hernias. The dramatic fall in maternal and perinatal mortality rates all over the world themselves speak volumes in favor of antenatal care. However, it must be pointed out that besides antenatal care, improved anesthetic techniques, blood transfusion facilities, antibiotics, better dietary and social conditions have all played their part in reducing maternal and fetal morbidity and mortality. For further reading on this topic and other topics in obstetrics and gynecology, refer to following books written by me. Practical Obstetrics and Gynecology, Modern Obstetrics, Modern Gynecology, Clinical Cases in Obstetrics, Questions and Answers, Clinical Cases in Gynecology, Questions and Answers, and Pelvic Reconstructive Surgery. If you have liked my presentation, please feel free to comment, like and subscribe to my channel, and also share this video with your friends and community.